Hello everyone! In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to use all the buttons and features in our online editor. First, let's enter the editor interface. I'll refresh the page to ensure we are starting from the exact same initial state. Here, we can choose to open an existing project, or we can create a brand new one. Let's click here to create a new project from scratch. If you accidentally close this welcome window, you can always click the Create Project button, located in the top left corner. Once the project is created, you'll notice that the sidebar automatically switches to the VL file view and opens the VL Code tab. Right now, we are in the AI development phase. We haven't entered the backend editor or converted this into a full application yet. In this context, we can input our requirements directly into the AI IDE. For example, in the generation input, let's type a prompt: generate a mobile memo application. After entering the requirement, simply click the Run All Steps button. This will execute the complete development process for the project. Likewise, if you want to stop the process, you can click the Abort button here to halt the generation. If you let it run, it starts sequentially and then switches to parallel processing to generate the full app. Let's wait for it to generate the complete project. Notice that once the UI map is generated, all subsequent steps are generated in parallel. This makes the generation speed incredibly fast. As you can see, in just the few seconds I've been speaking, the entire project has been created. Once created, you'll see the page automatically refresh. This refresh indicates that the code generated by the AI has been successfully imported into our backend editor. If we want to review the content in the backend editor, we can click the AI button at the bottom to minimize the AI dialog box. This collapses the window, allowing us to switch to the stage to inspect our app. The tabs on the top left represent the stage, logic, VL code, and the map. The stage shows us exactly how the application looks and functions. Everything added here is displayed visually. For instance, we can zoom in on the stage, zoom out, or hold the spacebar to drag the canvas around. If we click the Add button here, notice that it automatically selects the corresponding component in the object tree on the right. So, the Stage tab is primarily for a direct visual inspection of your project. It's all what you see is what you get. Clicking different elements selects them. Whether it's text, an input field, or a button. The second tab, Logic View, shows events or action groups attached to components or services. When we click on this small lightning icon on the right, you'll see it automatically switches to the Logic branch. Under this tab, we can see the flow. It demonstrates what logic is being executed. For example, here it says when this button is clicked. If it is clickable, then save the content and trigger the Add Memo event. Regarding this Add Memo event, once it's triggered, it proceeds to execute the Add Memo action, which refreshes the page. This Add Memo action is actually linked to a backend service we defined. It handles the actual data entry, but where can we see this backend service? Notice the tab bar at the very top. It contains our front-end display and our backend services. Let's switch to the Backend Service tab. In the Service view, we can see the corresponding VL code. If we want to visualize the logic, we simply select the logic from the object tree on the left. This gives us a clear view of the internal logic. For instance, when retrieving a list, we instruct the database to execute an output operation, returning the content. Similarly, when adding a memo, it first validates if the content is legal, sets the content, and then submits the data. The delete function also validates the request before removing the content. Additionally, we have the Database tab. This shows our database fields and connects to the actual tables in our database. We can click Preview Data here This lets us inspect the real data stored in the database, including all the submissions we've made. Now, let's switch back. We'll return to the front-end view. Let's go to the front end. Regarding this back-end editor, it is essentially a standalone visual tool for running and editing logic. It can be used entirely independently from the AI IDE we saw earlier. It also allows for a direct, intuitive preview. For example, if we want to see the result, we simply click the Preview button. This displays the functional effect of our application. Here, we can try adding a memo content. Let's add one. You can see it has been added successfully. However, if we spot a bug here, we can ask the AI editor to fix it. For instance, we notice that in the displayed card, it is not showing the specific text content of the memo. So, let's return to the AI editor to make a modification. Click the AI ID button again, then switch to the Debug and Modify tab. Here, we enter the details of what we need to fix. I'll type, "The memo card is not displaying the specific memo content. Please fix this issue." Then we can click the button below. Click Analyze and Fix. Also, if you already know which file is causing the problem, you can select that file up here. The AI will then focus its fix on that specific file. But if you don't select anything and just hit Analyze, our tool will automatically determine which files are likely responsible for the issue. It proceeds to fix them automatically. You can see it's already running. It identified issues with the memo list and the memo component. It is fixing them now, and this repair process happens in parallel, meaning it fixes everything simultaneously. When finished, the icon on the right turns green, indicating the fix is complete. After the fix, please note one thing. Since we previously imported the generated VL files into the backend editor, the current VL files and the editor state are relatively independent. So, to apply these new modifications from the AI layer to our editor, we must click this yellow button again. This applies the changes. Once the editor refreshes, the import is complete. Alright, let's preview it again to check the results of the fix. Now we can see, after the repair, the text content of the memo is successfully displayed. So, whenever you need to fix something, simply input the changes you need in the Modify tab here. Additionally, if you want to keep the AI IDE open constantly, you can use this feature. Click the Pop-out button here. It will pop out into a floating window like this. This makes it larger, making it more convenient and intuitive to use. It floats above the editor area, allowing you to use the AI content directly on top of your workspace. Similarly, if you want it back in the editor layout, just click Pop In, and it returns to the sidebar on the right. Regarding the generated files, if generation fails, or if you want to regenerate something, you can click the corresponding step. It's quite intuitive. For example, service corresponds to backend services. If you want to regenerate a specific part, click on the content, and then click the Return button. Whatever files you select, the system will sequentially regenerate content for those specific files. You can customize this based on your needs. If you think certain files need a refresh, just select them. For instance, let's regenerate the service here. Click Rerun. Since our modules are highly cohesive and loosely coupled, generating a single file individually and reintegrating it works perfectly. It remains usable without breaking the system. It continues to function. You see it has generated a brand new file. We can switch over to inspect the new content. Again, if we want to apply this change, we need to click the Apply to ID button here once more. Furthermore, since our editor can function independently from the AI editing features, you can choose to collapse the AI editor entirely and use the VL parsing system on its own. For a completed VL project like this, you can simply use the download zip function here. It packages everything into a compressed file, giving you a standard zip archive. With this zip file, you can use it independently. Essentially, you can create a complete VL application just by using this zip file. Let's demonstrate by creating a new project. You can see, this is a completely blank new project, with no files generated yet. We can drag the zip file we just downloaded directly here, and release. Notice that it automatically parses the entire VL code from the zip file. Once parsing is done, we click Import to Editor. And there it is, a complete copy of our VL project has been successfully created. It's very convenient. Also, if you want to manually modify the VL code, you can perform manual edits directly in this window. For example, if you want to adjust the margins. After editing, click the Apply button. You can see that we can manually update the VL file seamlessly. If you want to save these file changes permanently, click the Save button here. This file is now updated. On top of this, if we want to further develop or customize the app, we can leave the VL code interface and go to the VisualLogic editor. Let's switch to the visual interface. Here, switch to the Component tab on the left, and set the right panel to Stage, which is our standard canvas view. Let's preview the current effect first. This is the VL app we generated earlier. We can manually test some functions here. For example, adding a memo. Let's add another one. You can see the new memo is added. Next, I'll demonstrate how to manually update this application. Since all operations are WYSIWYG, once we are in the Component tab, we can directly use any of these components. First, let's see how to modify component properties. The component attributes. Take this Add button for example. Its default color is blue. We can simply click on the button directly on the stage. This automatically highlights the component in the object tree. Below the component tree, in the bottom right corner, are the component properties. We have abstracted all common attributes for you. So, modifying properties is very easy. Let's say we want to change the background color. We can adjust it freely. I'll change it to red here. Save it. You can see the button has instantly turned red. All changes are reflected immediately. We can preview it right away. The default button color is now red. On the left, we provide a wide range of pre-abstracted components. You can drag and drop them to use immediately. For example, next to the memo text, I want to add another text label. We can click Text here to add it. As you can see, the text component is added to the stage very quickly. Let's modify the text properties. Like margins, every change is instantly visible. Essentially, you can move away from the AI IDE provided earlier and use these back-end component tools to complete independent app development. Making modifications here is much easier compared to other AI tools because the logic abstraction is clean, very concise, and the granularity of the components is just right. If everything looks good after adjustments, we can click the Build button here. Once published, it becomes a live application that others can access and use directly. Thank you for watching.